This video was created by VinylicPuma of VinylicPumaGaming.
So before I put together this list, I knew that there were some good Hyperion Guns and Weapons in Borderlands 2 in the pre-sequel. However, I didn't expect or realize that there were 11 truly excellent guns or weapons, and that I could have even added some more that didn't even make the cut here. So for example, the Omni Cannon is actually a pretty good sniper rifle, but that's not going to be on this list. We're going to have a wide variety of weapons today, which include everything from shotguns, pistols, snipers, SMGs, and even some lasers from Borderlands the pre-sequel. So without further ado, these will be the top 11 best Hyperion guns and weapons in Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel. Number 11. The B-Shield. Now, I know that this isn't technically a weapon per se, however, it is the best shield in Borderlands 2 for dealing a crap ton of damage to enemies. This is because, like all other amp damage shields, it can increase the damage of your weapons. However, unlike all other amp damage shields, the shots never drain the shield, meaning you have a perpetual damage boost until your character takes damage or while the shield is down for any reason. While the B isn't quite as good with shotguns, the B is really good with single projectile weapons like most pistols, SMGs, assault rifles, and sniper rifles. The B shield is going to really be one of the best shields available to the player later on in the game, so I definitely recommend that you pick one up. Number 10, the Heartbreaker. This is one of our first weapons that's available in Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, or more accurately, it can be used in Borderlands the pre-sequel, though I don't think it technically drops from anyone in the game. The Heartbreaker is a Moxie shotgun that only comes in fire and heals you for a certain percentage of damage dealt. While it's a pretty decent weapon in Borderlands 2, the pre-sequel version is extremely powerful on Athena, provided that you have Maelstrom stacks. Each projectile can add a stack of Maelstrom, which increases elemental damage, thereby increasing the power of the Heartbreaker. Definitely get one of these in the pre-sequel if you have access to do so. Number 9, the Mining Laser. Guys, let's just be real here, it's a triple railgun laser. While it's not as effective for long-distance combat in the pre-sequel, it's fairly easy to land all 3 projectiles up close. Another advantage of the mining laser is that it comes in all elements and is a quest reward for what is essentially a very easy quest in Borderlands the pre-sequel. So I definitely recommend that you get yourself the mining laser because it is a really great weapon. Number 8, the Taser. While the Holodome DLC for the pre-sequel was lacking in a lot of respects, one of the good things to come from it was the Hyperion Taser pistol. This pistol fires laser projectiles and has extremely high accuracy. Like all other pistols in the pre-sequel, it can be dual-wielded by Nisha the Lawbringer for devastating amounts of damage, while her High Noon skill or her aimbot skill is active. Once you start adding in Tombstone and damage over time effects, this weapon goes from good to great really quickly. Number 7, the Bitch, Fatale, and Cheat Code SMGs. So while all of these are different Hyperion legendary SMGs in name, they are largely similar. The Bitch is exclusive to Borderlands 2 and comes in all elements. The Fatale SMG is exclusive to the pre-sequel and shares the same skin as the Bitch, although it can only come in cryo elements. And then the Cheat Code is almost identical to the Bitch and Fatale in terms of stats, however it has decreased magazine size, an entirely different weapon skin, and while in Fight for Your Life, you have a chance not to consume ammo with the Cheat Code. In my personal opinion, of the 3, the Bitch is probably the best because it just has more variety, but both the Fatale and Cheat Code are great weapons in the pre-sequel. Number 6, the Butcher. So the Butcher is the only Hyperion pearlescent weapon from Borderlands 2, and it's definitely a good pearlescent weapon. While it's ultimately surpassed by the conference call and interphaser shotguns, the Butcher can randomly add bullets to the magazine to greatly increase the amount of uptime you can constantly keep firing. So, I mean, if you fire like 14 shots one time, there's a good chance you could fire 20 shots the next time. You get the idea. On Salvador in particular, you can combine the Butcher with a Hoarder class mod for nearly infinite shotgun ammo. Aside from great ammo consumption, you get a very high fire rate as well as great accuracy, which is typical of all Hyperion weapons. Definitely a great weapon to use up against most mob enemies. Number 5, the Excalibastard. In my humble opinion, the Excalibastard is really Borderlands the Pre-Sequel's best railgun laser, simply for the fact that once you perform a critical hit on an enemy, they will get frozen 100% of the time. Now, while I would recommend other methods of freezing enemies, you can't really deny that this trait would be really useful on any weapon. Now, the Excalibastard also is great for melee characters as well, especially after you've frozen them with the critical hit. Simply melee a frozen enemy to create a singularity that pulls them in, and then a Nova explodes to deal more cryo damage to enemies. It's also worth mentioning that Cryo Nova can also freeze some additional enemies, so you can do it all over again. It's also a pretty easy weapon to acquire, as you can simply pick one up in Stanton's liver after achieving 2500 badass rank. Number 4, the Conference Call. The Conference Call is possibly one of the most iconic guns or weapons from Borderlands 2. This is mostly because at one time, the Conference Call was one of the best weapons to use when combined with the B-Shield. However, now that's not really the case anymore. Even still, though, the Conference Call is a fantastic weapon up against many of the larger enemies and raid bosses that you might encounter while playing Borderlands 2, such as like Terramorphous or the Son of Cromarax. The projectiles cover a larger area and are capable of dealing significant amount of damage to these larger type enemies. Overall, it's still a great shotgun. It's just not quite as incredible as it used to be when paired with the B-Shield. Number 3, the Lady Fist. Possibly one of the most broken guns or weapons in both Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, the Lady Fist is definitely recommended for all players. What makes this weapon so great is that while it has fairly low or just average base damage, the critical hit modifiers are extremely high. It's also worth mentioning that this critical hit damage boost effect is a passive weapon effect. So while gunzerking, you can give other weapons increased critical hit damage. Another thing you could do is if the projectiles on the weapon you're using are slow enough and they have the ability to crit, you can quickly fire that gun and then swap to the Lady Fist for boosted critical hit damage. For that reason, the Twister works really well with the Lady Fist. Overall, definitely worth picking up in both games, as the Lady Fist is quite powerful. Number 2, the Interfacer. The Interfacer is Borderlands 2's, and by extension, Salvador the Gunzerker's raid boss killer weapon. While the ammo consumption is fairly high, this can be negated by both Salvador's ammo regeneration abilities while gunzerking, and thanks to some of his skills which affect ammo consumption. The real reason that the Interfacer is popular is thanks to its very high critical hit modifier for a shotgun and its great fire rate and accuracy. These 2 or 3 things allow you to deal an insane amount of damage to a small area, such as a crit spot, or, as the gun is named, into an enemy's face. The Interfacer is a must-have for high-level play in Borderlands 2. And finally, number 1. The Morningstar. So no doubt this will be a surprise for a lot of people, as the Interfacer is really probably one of, if not the best guns in Borderlands 2. However, the Morningstar Sniper rifle can become insanely powerful, provided that you can score critical hits, and if you're willing to perform some glitches to significantly boost this weapon's power. The only real problem with the Morningstar is the annoying female voice that comes along with the reload animation. While it's not quite as bad as something like the Bane is, the constant nagging is enough to drive pretty much anyone crazy. If you can deal with the annoying dialogue, the Morningstar is definitely a must-have weapon. Anyway guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up this particular video. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, and as always, take care and I'll see y'all next time.